Good morning. This is Bloomberg Quint's roundup of all the stocks that are in focus today. The Nifty for now marginally in the red, but holding on to 9,400. But given the fact that we have Nifty showing some amount of weakness, there's another stock on account of its earnings also looking at a cut of nearly 4%. Nikki, GAIL earnings not up to expectations, and we're looking at substantial weakness on its profitability as well.
Yeah, so it's a 4%, we've seen a 4% drop for GAIL India. Yesterday also, before going into the earnings, the stock has dropped as much as 2.5% in the trade yesterday. Disappointing set of earnings that we're looking in for GAIL. The company has reported close to 69% dip in its profit at around 260 crore. This is mainly on account of one-time hit of 783 crore taken on account of its investment in Ratnagiri Gas and Power Private Limited, which is a joint venture with NTPC. Without the impairment cost, the net profit comes close to 1,043 crore. That's again lower than the Bloomberg estimates of around a figure that we're working with was around 1,089 crore. Revenue just about grew 16.2% to 13,421 crore versus the estimate, which was again at around 1342 crore that we're looking at for GAIL India. So definitely disappointment creeping in for GAIL India for that matter.
And you know what, I'm also looking at some weakness in Engineers India. That's also taking a knock around 4%, and this was once again a weak set of numbers.
So it was mixed bag for Engineers India for that we saw for that matter. Revenue obviously was a tad above the estimates that we were working with. However, the disappointment really came in on the execution and the employee expenses front. We saw the EBITDA margin coming in at 12.3% versus the estimate of 19%. This was mainly on account of lower execution and higher employee expenses that we were working at. So PAT came in lower, 15% lower on YoY basis at rupees 66 crore versus the estimate of around 92.73 crore for that matter. However, we did see some good news coming in from Godrej Industries.
Oh, absolutely, Nikki. So, given the performance from Godrej Consumers as well as Godrej Properties, this was no surprise coming in from Godrej Industries.
Right.
The revenue was up 7%. It was a strong operational performance. EBITDA was up more than 2 times and margins expanded nearly 380 basis points. Now, when you look at the stock, it might be up only 1.5%.
Right.
But, why is the street more, enthused about Godrej Industries itself? Is because of the Godrej Agrovet IPO that is expected.
Right.
What they have mentioned in their press release is that the Q4 profit for Godrej Agrovet that has increased by about 97%. So that's a huge bump up. While the sales have been down, but the reason that they are citing for the sales being down is that they're facing some headwinds in the broiler industry.
Right.
But there have been some other bulk deals in the market, and Nikki, can you take us through them?
So one was Gateway Distripark, where Amansa Capital, that's the fund management company based out of Singapore, which is bought in 24.20 lakh shares or 2.2% stake in the company for that matter. Now this company is a logistic facilitator in India and it has 3 verticals. However, 75% of the analysts tracked by Bloomberg Quint have a buy rating on the stock, but suggest a downside potential of nearly 17% for the stock for that matter. However, Agam, what are the key earnings that we are looking at for this day?
Before I go to the key earnings looking for going forward, I want to address the Taro numbers as well. We've seen some weakness, of course, that has implications on Sun Pharma's earnings as well, which is expected later on. So
Absolutely.
What kind of numbers are we looking at?
So, Taro reported results overnight and, didn't look good on the face of it. So the net sales were down 26% while the profit was down 27%. Now this has a bearing on the stock of the Sun Pharma itself, down about, you can see 4 to 5% something. Why this is so? Because Taro contributes 20% to the top line and 40% to the bottom line of Sun Pharma. Now Sun owns 63% in Taro. So hence the Sun Pharma stock is taking a beating in morning trade today. But something, Agam, which has just caught my eye, this was not planned, of course. Videocon, I can see that it's on a down circuit for the second day running. Why is that so? Probably because of the 50,000 odd crore debt that they have.
Right.
And the banks, they will have to declare it as an NPA going soon. But yeah, going back to you, Agam, what are the key earnings that you will be looking for today?
Again, before I go to the earnings, I want to once again mention CLSA on Maruti because this is a big upgrade. Now, CLSA has maintained a buy on Maruti, but it's put a price target of 8,100. This is nearly 20% upside from current market levels. Maruti's gained about 1% right now, and this is on account of the channel checks and their conversations with the OEMs that the CLSA has had, and they are suggesting that the passenger vehicles space particularly has seen a substantial pickup in the last couple of months. This will result in waiting list growing for Maruti should the demand sustain, and that's also the reason why they've also increased the price target for Maruti to around 8,100. But now that that's over, I'm going to once again go to the auto industry, remain with the auto industry, and we're expecting Tata Motors numbers later on after market hours. With respect to expectations on a year-on-year basis, expecting the revenues to decline marginally, maybe a little 0.5% at around a little over 80,000 crores. Margins are expected to expand quarter on quarter, but contract or year-on-year basis. And similarly, while we are expecting the company to post a profit of around 2,500 crores against a loss quarter on quarter, and the reason why I'm bringing this on a quarter-on-quarter basis is because we know that in year-on-year basis the comparison is not, cannot be done. We are looking at a little bit of a pickup, and we'll be keeping an eye on the F-pace and sales from Hexa as well as Tiago, which are expected to lift passenger vehicles sales for Tata Motors. So on the whole, we're expecting a mixed quarter. Let's see how that comes out. And finally, what are we expecting from Voltas?
So I'm not going to be playing around with Agam for that matter. I'm just going to simply give in the Voltas number that we're expecting. A flat growth on top line. This is 1.97% at 1,912 crore for that matter. Net profit is expected to come in lower by 20% at 142.57 crore. Key things that we are going to be watching out will be the commentary on the pricing and competitive behavior. Along with that, the execution in projects both overseas as well as domestic. Well, that's the stock update that we have for you in this morning. Stay tuned into Bloomberg Quint for more.